Have you ever caught that awkward glance from a friend during dinner, or noticed how conversations fizzle out when you share your latest story, leaving you wondering if you're the only one feeling invisible in a room full of people who used to laugh at your jokes? You're not alone. Those subtle, soul-crushing moments are the red flags of the 9 stupid mistakes older people do that everyone notices, but no one has the heart to tell you about. From clinging to outdated tech habits that make you look lost to ignoring the quiet health signals that could steal your independence overnight. But stick with me until the end, because I'll not only reveal these hidden pitfalls with raw, real-life stories that'll hit you right in the gut, but I'll hand you simple, game-changing fixes that have helped thousands reclaim their confidence, spark deeper connections, and turn their golden years into a comeback story you never saw coming. Your vibrant future starts right here, right now. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. Number 1. Poor posture in public. One of the most common yet entirely avoidable mistakes that many older adults make, often completely unaware of the impact, is adopting poor posture while walking or standing in public spaces. You know the scene: a slightly slouched back, shoulders that droop forward as if weighed down by the day, or a gaze fixed downward at the pavement rather than ahead. At first glance, it might appear as nothing more than a quest for momentary comfort after years of carrying the world's burdens. But in reality, this subtle shift in body alignment broadcasts a powerful, unintended message to everyone around you. It's fascinating how deeply ingrained our perceptions of posture are in human interaction. Research in social psychology consistently shows that people instinctively link upright posture with qualities like self-assurance, physical robustness, and an overall zest for life. When someone carries themselves with a weakened stance, observers, whether strangers in a park or family members at a gathering, may subconsciously conclude that you're more fragile than you feel, disengaged from the moment, or perhaps even less equipped to handle everyday challenges than you truly are. These assumptions aren't deliberate judgments. They're automatic responses wired into our brains from evolutionary cues that once helped us assess allies and threats. Body language, as experts like those in the field of nonverbal communication have emphasized for decades, often speaks volumes louder than any spoken word ever could. Imagine the difference: standing tall with your shoulders relaxed yet squared, chin parallel to the ground, and eyes meeting the horizon. This posture doesn't just occupy space, it claims it, signaling to the world that you're fully present, alert, and ready to engage with whatever comes your way. It invites conversation, eye contact, and a sense of shared energy. Conversely, that hunched-over silhouette can have the opposite effect, rendering you almost spectral in social settings. It's no wonder so many older individuals express frustration about feeling overlooked in crowds, dismissed in discussions, or treated with an air of condescension. That bent stance acts like an invisible barrier, encouraging others to look past you rather than connect. But here's the empowering truth: transforming this habit doesn't demand gym memberships, fancy gadgets, or hours of your time. It starts with the basics: incorporating gentle daily stretches to loosen tight muscles, practicing simple balance exercises like standing on one foot while brushing your teeth, or even setting a mental cue, such as shoulders back every time you step out the door. Over time, these small rituals build not just better alignment but a renewed sense of poise. Let me share a real-life example that always sticks with me. There was a gentleman named Robert, just dipping into his early 70s, who moved through life with an effortless grace that left people scratching their heads about his age. They'd peg him for mid-60s, tops. His fountain of youth secret? It wasn't some miracle cream or strict diet. It was deliberate posture. Robert made it a point to practice a quick 5-minute routine each morning, rolling his shoulders, arching his back gently against a wall, and visualizing himself as a tree rooted firmly yet reaching skyward. The result was magnetic. He exuded an aura of quiet dignity and unshakable vitality, drawing compliments and conversations wherever he went, from coffee shop chats to neighborhood walks. So next time you catch a glimpse of yourself in a window reflection, leaning unnecessarily on your cane or letting your eyes drift to the ground as you stroll, pause and take stock. People absolutely notice these details, even if they never say a word. And the beauty of standing tall goes beyond external perceptions. It radiates inward, bolstering your own feelings of strength, balance, and capability. It's a simple act of self-advocacy that reshapes how the world sees you, one upright step at a time. Number 2. Speaking too loudly. Shifting gears to another oversight that tends to catch attention right away, even if it's wrapped in good intentions. Many older adults unintentionally speak at an amplified volume during everyday conversations. This quirk often stems from the natural progression of age-related hearing decline, where the subtle loss of auditory clarity prompts a compensatory boost in one's own voice to ensure they're heard. It's a practical adaptation, but one that ripples outward in ways that can alter the dynamics of interactions without anyone intending it to. The issue here isn't just auditory, it's deeply social. In any group setting, from a hushed dinner in a cozy restaurant to lively family reunions or serene moments in a place of worship, the sudden surge in volume can jolt the atmosphere. Listeners pick up on it immediately, and while they might smile politely or nod along, it frequently leaves them feeling uneasy, as if the conversational equilibrium has been tipped. No one wants to be the bearer of awkward news, so the discomfort simmers unspoken, but it lingers in their memory. Consider the nuances of how dialogue flows in our daily lives. The pitch, rhythm, and decibel level of our speech weave just as much narrative as the actual vocabulary we choose. A voice that booms unexpectedly can evoke unintended undercurrents, hints of irritation bubbling under the surface, a touch of haste in the exchange, or even a perceived drift from the finer points of social etiquette. In quieter venues, it might amplify minor tensions, turning a relaxed chat into something that feels strained. Psychologically speaking, our brains are primed to interpret elevated tones as markers of stress or urgency. It's a primal holdover that can fracture the cozy intimacy of a shared moment, prompting others to pull back emotionally, even if they stay physically close. That said, it's crucial to frame this not as a personal shortcoming or lapse in manners, but as a straightforward physiological tweak, one that's eminently addressable with a bit of awareness and support. Hearing adjustments are incredibly common, and addressing them head-on can unlock a world of smoother connections. Take Susan, a vibrant 68-year-old I knew well, who started picking up on subtle cues from her grandchildren. They'd inch away during story time, their little faces a mix of affection and mild overload. It wasn't until her daughter, with the gentlest of nudges, encouraged a routine hearing evaluation that the pieces clicked. Fitted with a discreet, modern hearing aid, Susan discovered she could dial back her volume effortlessly, reclaiming that natural, conversational cadence she'd lost touch with. The transformation was swift and heartwarming. Suddenly, those same grandchildren leaned in eagerly, their eyes wide with wonder as her stories unfolded at a comfortable hum. Family dinners buzzed with laughter rather than echoes, and Susan reflected on how profoundly her vocal habits had been steering the ship's course, often toward unintended distance. She felt not just heard, but truly in sync, fostering bonds that deepened with every softened syllable. Ultimately, while direct feedback might be scarce, rest assured that a voice commanding undue space in a room doesn't go undetected. Fine-tuning your tone isn't about perfection. It's about honoring the delicate dance of dialogue and extending courtesy to the collective rhythm of the group. It paves the way for more genuine, effortless exchanges that leave everyone feeling valued and at ease. Number 3. Dressing without care. Rounding out this trio of subtle yet spotlight-stealing missteps is something that strikes at the heart of first impressions, a casual disregard for personal presentation through clothing and grooming. It's a trap many older folks stumble into over time, opting for outfits that clash in color or pattern, garments that hang baggy from disuse or cling awkwardly from shifts in body shape, or simply skipping the basics of tidying up. No overt criticism may come your way. Friends and strangers alike often hold their tongues out of kindness, but make no mistake, these choices etch an immediate, lasting sketch in others' minds. Clothing has served as a silent storyteller throughout history, a canvas for expressing identity without uttering a syllable. Behavioral scientists delve into this regularly, revealing how our attire doesn't just shape external judgments but loops back to influence our internal self-view, what's known as enclothed cognition. When someone in their later years lets their wardrobe slide into autopilot, it can whisper narratives of waning self-assurance, depleted vigor, or a foggy edge to their mental acuity. These interpretations aren't fair or always accurate, but they're potent nonetheless. In truth, the root is rarely dramatic. It's more often the quiet triumph of practicality over polish, prioritizing the softest sweater for a sore joint or clinging to favorites from decades past because change feels exhausting. Life's routines calcify, and before long, the mirror becomes an afterthought. Yet, the real revelation lies in the ease of reversal. Profound shifts in perception await with tweaks as minor as selecting a crisp, properly sized button-down that schemes without sagging, polishing a pair of well-worn shoes to a subtle gleam, or harmonizing a few staple pieces with complementary hues. These aren't overhauls. They're invitations to re-engage with the world on your terms. Picture Thomas, a spry soul in his late 70s, whom I had the pleasure of knowing, who'd spent years defaulting to the path of least resistance. Faded tees, mismatched slacks, the works. Then, spurred by a casual remark from a longtime friend, he committed to a gentle pivot, curating a handful of versatile outfits that blended comfort with intention, like a tailored vest over a favorite shirt or slacks hemmed just right. The ripple effect was immediate and astonishing. Strangers struck up dialogues where silence once reigned. Acquaintances sought his counsel on everything from books to life hacks. Even service staff at his local cafe greeted him with a warmer deference. Thomas hadn't altered his wit, wisdom, or warmth. Only the frame through which it was viewed. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. At its core, this isn't a crusade against ease or a nod to superficiality. The oversight isn't in seeking solace in your clothes. It's in underestimating how that outer layer colors the lens of perception for everyone else. Cultivating a touch of intentionality in your dress isn't vanity. It's an affirmation of inherent worth, a quiet declaration of self-regard that commands quiet respect. People won't broadcast their takeaways on your tousled ensemble, but believe me, they register it all the same. With a little mindful effort, you reclaim not just admiring glances, but the empowering feedback loop of feeling seen, valued, and vibrantly alive. Number 4. Repeating the same stories. One of the most common pitfalls that almost every older adult has stumbled into at some point is the habit of recounting the same anecdotes time and again, often without even realizing it. It's a subtle slip-up, but one that can subtly shift the dynamics of your interactions with others. You might be blissfully unaware in the moment, lost in the warmth of the memory, but those around you, friends, family, or even casual acquaintances, tend to pick up on it almost immediately. Out of politeness and affection, they rarely interrupt or call it out directly, choosing instead to nod along with a smile. Yet, beneath that kindness, it leaves a lingering impression that can make conversations feel a bit more strained over time. Picture this. You're sharing that cherished tale from your youth, the family road trip gone hilariously wrong, or the time you landed that dream job against all odds, for what feels like the umpteenth time. To you, it's a comforting ritual, a way to relive joy and connection. But to your listeners, especially if it's the third or fourth retelling in as many months, their attention might start to wander. They could be mentally drifting to their to-do lists or glancing at their phones, all while maintaining that supportive facade because they genuinely care about you and the relationship. It's not a rejection. It's just human nature to crave novelty and freshness in dialogue. Diving deeper into the psychology behind this, repetition like this often stems from natural shifts in how our memories function as we age. The brain, in its wisdom and efficiency, begins to favor well-worn neural pathways, the ones etched deep from years of use. Those familiar stories become like old, reliable roads that are quicker and easier to navigate than forging new trails with recent events or lesser-known details. It's not a sign of decline in the dramatic sense, but rather a gentle adaptation where the comfort of the known outweighs the effort of the new. There's also an emotional layer. These repeated tales are often tied to peak moments of pride, love, or triumph, offering a soothing anchor in a world that can feel increasingly unpredictable. The downside, however, is that listeners might misread this pattern as a deeper issue, like forgetfulness or a disconnection from the here and now. It can unintentionally make them feel like spectators in a one-person show, rather than active participants in a shared exchange. They start wondering if you're truly tuned into their reactions, or if the conversation is more about reliving your past than building something in the present. Over time, this can erode the spark of engagement, leading to shorter visits or fewer invitations. The good news is that this habit doesn't have to define your interactions. It's entirely manageable with a touch of intentional awareness and a few practical strategies. Many older adults who've noticed this in themselves swear by keeping a simple mental, or even written, inventory of untapped stories. Perhaps a quirky encounter from last week's grocery run, a fascinating article you read recently, or an observation about the changing seasons. Rotating in these fresh elements keeps things dynamic and shows you're present and curious about the world beyond your highlight reel. Another effective tactic is to embrace humor as a bridge, lightly acknowledging the repetition with a wink and a quip like, "Hang on, I think I've spun this yarn before, but bear with me, it's even better the second time around." This self-deprecating charm diffuses any awkwardness, turning a potential faux pas into a moment of shared laughter that draws people in closer. I have a vivid memory of a delightful woman named Linda, who was in her early 80s and had this infectious twinkle in her eye. She was the type who'd light up any room with her quick wit, but like many of us, she had her go-to stories on repeat. What set her apart was her effortless grace in handling it. Every time she'd catch herself mid-repetition, she'd pause, throw her head back in a hearty laugh, and declare, "Well, darlin', good stories are worth hearing twice, maybe even 3 times if you're lucky." That tiny admission of vulnerability didn't diminish her. It amplified her appeal. It preserved her dignity while inviting others to join in the fun, making her company not just tolerable but genuinely sought after. People left her gatherings feeling uplifted, not exhausted. At the end of the day, the heart of the matter is this: no one resents your memories themselves. They're the threads that weave the rich tapestry of your life, and sharing them is a gift. What truly matters is balancing that nostalgia with a sense of presence, making your listeners feel seen and valued in the now. So, while slipping into repetition is a universal quirk we all share at times, a conscious effort to infuse variety into your chats can transform those exchanges, fostering deeper connections and keeping the energy alive. Number 5. Ignoring personal appearance. Shifting gears to another oversight that's all too common among older folks, one that catches everyone's eye but seldom gets mentioned outright, is letting personal appearance slide into the background. This isn't about chasing youth through high-end makeovers or stepping onto the fashion runway. Far from it. At its core, it's about the quiet signal you send to the world, that you still hold value in how you carry yourself and that you respect the role you play in others' lives. It's a subtle form of self-expression that says, "I'm here, I'm engaged, and I matter." Think about the split-second judgments we all make when someone enters a room. If shirts are dotted with unexplained stains from meals long past, hair looks like it hasn't seen a brush in days, or shoes are scuffed and frayed beyond repair, those details register instantly. Observers, whether it's a grandchild dropping by or a neighbor waving hello, file it away without a word, often chalking it up to just getting older rather than addressing it head-on. But that unspoken observation can color the entire interaction, creating an invisible barrier that makes warmth feel a tad more distant. From a psychological perspective, our outward presentation is a non-verbal megaphone for our inner state. When we invest even a modest amount of effort in looking put together, it's a declaration of self-worth. I value myself enough to show up intentionally. Research in social psychology backs this up, highlighting how acts of self-care, simple as they may be, boost our own confidence and emotional resilience, which in turn radiates outward. People respond to that energy. They mirror it with more openness, more attentiveness, more genuine connection. Conversely, when neglect creeps in, it can broadcast an unintended message of resignation or withdrawal, as if social bonds have lost their shine. It's not that others think less of you as a person, it's that the visual cues prime them to engage less fully, assuming you might not be as invested in the moment. I once knew a gentleman named Robert, pushing into his late 70s, who had quietly surrendered to a rut of uniformity. Day in and day out, it was the same threadbare jacket slung over his shoulders and a pair of battered shoes that had seen better decades. He wasn't vain or flashy by nature, so it started as an innocent oversight, comfort over convention. But his daughter, ever the gentle nudge, sat him down one afternoon with a cup of coffee and a catalog of basics. A couple of crisp button-downs, some sturdy walking shoes in neutral tones, nothing extravagant. The shift was nothing short of profound. Suddenly, Robert wasn't just dressed, he was present. Strangers at the community center struck up chats more readily, old friends lingered longer over lunch, and even his posture straightened with a newfound ease. The outpouring of compliments, "You look great, Bob," wasn't about style points. It was about the dignity he reclaimed, the quiet affirmation that rippled through his world and buoyed his mood in ways he hadn't anticipated. The beauty of addressing this is its accessibility. No need for a wardrobe overhaul or salon marathons. It's the low-hanging fruit of self-respect, swapping a rumpled tee for a freshly laundered one, running a comb through your hair or trimming those nails before heading out the door, or polishing up a favorite pair of loafers. These aren't vanities. They're investments in the social fabric that keeps you woven in. When you step into a space radiating that baseline effort, eyes light up, barriers dissolve, and invitations flow more freely. It sustains those vital ties, reminding everyone, including yourself, that life's too vibrant to fade into the background. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 6. Talking too much about illness. Finally, let's touch on a trap that's disarmingly easy to fall into as we age. Steering nearly every discussion back to the realm of health complaints, from nagging joint pains and endless pill regimens to the latest specialist appointment. It's a natural reflex when bodies start whispering, or shouting, their stories. But it has a way of casting a shadow over interactions that others sense acutely, though, again, they'll seldom voice it to spare your feelings. Loved ones, acquaintances, even close family might start pulling back ever so slightly, not out of callousness, but because the weight of it all leaves them at a loss for how to lift the mood without seeming dismissive. Imagine a casual coffee catch-up veering predictably into symptom checklists. My back's been killing me since the rain. Or, the doc says it's this new med, but side effects are no joke. At first, listeners empathize. They care deeply and want to support. But when it becomes the gravitational center of every exchange, the air thickens with unease. They grapple for responses that feel adequate, only to end up drained, unsure if they're helping or just absorbing the heaviness. Psychologically, this pattern taps into a fundamental human drive. We gravitate toward relationships that recharge us with positivity and shared vitality. When dialogue loops relentlessly around decline and discomfort, it can evoke an aura of finality or defeat, subtly training others to brace for negativity whenever you're around. It's not that they don't want to hear about your realities. Vulnerability builds bonds, but the imbalance tips the scale, making time together feel more obligatory than enjoyable. Of course, this doesn't advocate bottling up your experiences. Authenticity is the glue of real connection, and suppressing real struggles only breeds isolation. The key lies in equilibrium, weaving in your challenges as threads in a larger, more textured narrative rather than letting them overshadow the whole cloth. Share the doctor's update if it feels right, but pair it with the bloom of resilience that follows, the adaptive hack you discovered or the small win that eased the day. Take Martha, a spirited 74-year-old I crossed paths with, whose laughter could disarm anyone and whose circle of friends once buzzed like a beehive around her. She was a storyteller par excellence, full of tales from her adventurous days. But as arthritis tightened its grip and prescriptions piled up, her chats morphed into monologues on flares and follow-ups. Invitations dwindled. Doorbells fell silent. The isolation crept in like fog, leaving her puzzled and adrift. Then, in a moment of clarity, perhaps sparked by a quiet afternoon alone, she pivoted. She began threading in the lighter hues, the hilarious antics of her grandkids at play, the plot twist in that gripping novel on her nightstand, or a sun-dappled memory from a long-ago trip to the coast. It wasn't denial. It was reclamation. Folks perked up, drawn back by the multifaceted woman they'd always known, not defined by her aches, but elevated above them. Her phone rang again. The porch light stayed on for evening visitors. The reality is, we all clock it when health talk eclipses everything else. It's the elephant in the room that dims the spark. What captivates, what forges lasting pulls, is witnessing an elder's unyielding spark amid the storm. The wry joke that skewers a symptom, the wide-eyed wonder at a new hobby, or the steadfast curiosity that refuses to dim. That alchemy of grit and grace? It's magnetic. It doesn't erase the hardships, but it honors them as chapters, not the entire book, inviting others to step closer with hope rather than hesitation. Number 7. Ignoring modern etiquette. One of the subtle yet profound mistakes that many older individuals unintentionally make is brushing aside or failing to acknowledge the evolving landscape of contemporary manners and social norms. In an era where societal expectations have shifted dramatically over the past few decades, what was once considered harmless small talk or lighthearted banter can now be perceived as insensitive or outright inappropriate. For instance, casual remarks about a person's physical appearance, such as commenting on their weight or age-related changes, probing into personal finances like salary details, or recounting jokes rooted in outdated stereotypes that were once met with chuckles, are now often perceived as boundary-crossing or lacking in empathy. These moments, though fleeting, can leave a lasting impression, particularly among younger generations who are attuned to inclusive and respectful communication. Younger people, out of a deep-seated respect for their elders, tend to overlook these faux pas in the moment. They might offer a polite smile or change the subject gracefully rather than confront the issue head-on. However, beneath the surface, they quietly register these interactions, filing them away as indicators of generational disconnect. Over time, this can lead to a gradual emotional withdrawal, where conversations become more superficial or infrequent, not out of malice, but simply as a self-protective measure to avoid discomfort. From a psychological perspective, etiquette serves as a vital bridge in human interactions. signaling that you are attuned to the nuances of the world beyond your own experiences and genuinely considerate of others' emotional boundaries and cultural sensitivities. When these modern standards are repeatedly disregarded, it risks projecting an image of being detached from current realities, perhaps even self-absorbed or unintentionally dismissive, which can erode trust and rapport. Importantly, this isn't about forsaking the core principles or personal values that have guided you through life. It's about cultivating a flexible mindset that honors those values while adapting them to fit today's diverse social tapestry. True wisdom, after all, isn't rigid adherence to the past but the graceful ability to evolve, demonstrating that meaningful relationships take precedence over unyielding traditions. This adaptability fosters deeper connections, inviting others to see you not as a relic of bygone eras but as a vibrant participant in the here and now. Consider the story of Frank, an 81-year-old gentleman whose heart was as warm as his intentions were pure. In family gatherings, he had a habit of turning every chat with his younger relatives, nieces, nephews, and grandchildren toward milestone questions like, "So, when are you settling down and tying the knot?" Or any plans for little ones on the horizon. He viewed these inquiries as tokens of genuine interest, a way to express care rooted in his own life's timeline. Yet, for the recipients, these probes often stirred unease, evoking feelings of pressure or judgment in a world where personal timelines vary widely due to career demands, economic realities, or simply individual choices. The turning point came when Frank, prompted by a gentle aside from his daughter, reflected on the impact of his words. He began redirecting his natural curiosity toward neutral, affirming topics. "Tell me more about that hiking trip you took last month. What was the highlight?" Or, "How's that big project at work shaping up?" Sounds challenging and exciting. The transformation was remarkable. Tensions dissolved, laughter flowed more freely, and the gatherings took on a lighter, more inclusive tone that made everyone feel valued and at ease. Frank himself discovered richer insights into his loved ones' lives, strengthening bonds he hadn't realized were fraying. In essence, it's impossible to overstate how keenly people observe when someone holds fast to antiquated social scripts without a nod to the present context. But the reverse holds even greater power. When an older adult thoughtfully integrates modern etiquette, perhaps by pausing to read the room or opting for open-ended positive questions, it creates a ripple of pleasant surprise. This not only dispels assumptions of rigidity but highlights enduring vitality, sharp awareness, and profound respect for others' autonomy. These are the very traits that draw people in, encouraging them to cherish your presence and weave you more tightly into the fabric of their lives. Number 8. Speaking without listening. A prevalent pitfall among older adults is the tendency to commandeer conversations, filling the air with their own narratives while inadvertently sidelining opportunities for others to contribute meaningfully. This dynamic often unfolds unconsciously, born from a lifetime of accumulated experiences that feel compelling to impart. With decades of triumphs, trials, and hard-won lessons at their disposal, it's natural for seniors to feel a surge of enthusiasm to dispense advice or recount tales that, in their view, illuminate the path ahead. Yet, when the scales tip heavily toward monologue over dialogue, it introduces a subtle but palpable imbalance, one that listeners pick up on swiftly, even if they mask it with courteous nods or affirming murmurs. Internally, those on the receiving end may experience a quiet sense of being overlooked, their own perspectives diminished in the shadow of the storyteller's voice. This can foster a lingering feeling of disconnection, where the exchange feels more like a performance than a shared journey, prompting others to engage less enthusiastically in future interactions. Psychologically, the art of listening stands as one of the most potent tools for forging authentic bonds, as it conveys a profound humility and an insatiable curiosity about the inner worlds of those around you. It flips the script on common stereotypes that portray older individuals as entrenched in their viewpoints, unyielding to fresh ideas. Instead, active listening, through attentive eye contact, thoughtful follow-up questions, or reflective paraphrasing, reveals a depth of emotional intelligence and openness that captivates others. In a fast-paced world craving validation, people are magnetically pulled toward those who create space for their voices, making them feel truly seen and appreciated. I recall Eleanor, a spirited 78-year-old with a treasure trove of anecdotes from her adventurous youth, world travels, career pivots, and family escapades that could fill volumes. At holiday dinners or casual coffee meetups, she would dive into these stories with infectious zeal, weaving elaborate threads that stretched on without pause, leaving little room for interjections. Her grandchildren, ever polite and adoring, would listen dutifully but gradually contribute less, their eyes wandering as they mentally checked out, conversations dwindling to obligatory check-ins rather than vibrant exchanges. Eleanor's awakening happened during a quiet moment of self-reflection, sparked by a family member's offhand comment about feeling steamrolled. Committed to change, she adopted a simple ritual, entering each interaction with questions primed on her tongue, such as, "How's your week unfolding? What's been the most memorable part?" Or, "What's sparking your passion these days, at work or in your hobbies?" The shift was electric. Suddenly, the room buzzed with reciprocal energy. Stories from all sides intertwined, creating a tapestry of mutual discovery. Eleanor's grandchildren opened up about their dreams and daily triumphs, and she, in turn, gleaned joy she hadn't anticipated. The result? Invitations multiplied, and she became the heart of gatherings, her presence a sought-after delight. It's a universal truth that imbalances in conversation, where one voice eclipses the chorus, register on everyone's radar, even in the absence of direct feedback, breeding unspoken resentments over time. Conversely, the magic of genuine listening is transformative. Participants depart interactions buoyed, their burdens lightened by the simple gift of being heard. This unassuming practice often outshines the most eloquent anecdote or sage counsel, as it nurtures a sense of belonging that lingers long after words fade. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 9. Ignoring appearance in small ways. A further oversight that older individuals sometimes fall into is the assumption that minor aspects of personal presentation have lost their relevance with age, leading to a relaxed approach toward grooming and attire that borders on neglect. It might appear trivial, perhaps a shirt bearing faint creases from hasty folding, shoes dulled by scuffs and lack of polish, or hair left tousled without a quick brush. In the grand scheme, these elements seem inconsequential, especially when comfort trumps convention. However, these understated details act as silent messengers, instantly shaping perceptions in ways that are instinctive and hardwired, even among those who never voice their observations. Observers, be they family, friends, or passers-by, subconsciously interpret these cues as windows into your overall vitality, self-assurance, and well-being. A rumpled ensemble might evoke assumptions of waning energy or disinterest in the world, while unkempt edges could subtly signal a retreat from social engagement, influencing how warmly or frequently others reach out. At its core, psychology links personal appearance to an individual's sense of self-worth and dignity. It's a tangible reflection of the internal dialogue that affirms, "I matter, and so do the moments I share with others." Neglecting these basics can inadvertently undermine that message, whereas upholding them reinforces a narrative of continued relevance and poise. This isn't an exhortation to overhaul your style with fleeting fashions or invest in extravagance. Far from it. It's about mindful intentionality in the everyday, selecting crisp, comfortable clothing that fits well and flatters your frame, dedicating a moment to iron out wrinkles or buff up footwear, and running a comb through your hair as a quiet act of preparation. These unassuming rituals accumulate into a polished aura that radiates quiet confidence and approachability. Robert, an 81-year-old retiree whose daily neighborhood strolls were a cherished routine, embodied this shift in miniature. For years, he ambled along in threadbare sweatpants sagging at the knees, threadbare slippers flapping against the pavement, and a faded tee that spoke more of lounging than venturing out. He rationalized it as practicality. Who was he trying to impress, after all? Yet, over time, interactions with neighbors soured subtly. Greetings shortened to pitying smiles, conversations laced with condescending tones, as if his disheveled state marked him as fragile or forgotten. A casual remark from a longtime acquaintance, "You always look so put together, it brightens the block," planted a seed. Motivated, Robert rummaged through his closet, opting for neatly pressed slacks that hung just right, a crisp button-down tucked with care, and sturdy walking shoes gleaming from a fresh polish. The metamorphosis was swift and striking. Neighbors' hellos warmed with genuine enthusiasm, chit-chat evolved into lingering chats about local news or shared memories, and Robert reported a surge in his own posture, literally standing taller, with a spring in his step that mirrored his renewed sense of purpose. Ultimately, these petite particulars wield outsized influence, etching judgments into the minds of those around you, fair or not. When older adults wave them off, it invites misinterpretations that can isolate rather than invite. Yet, by tending to them with gentle consistency, you broadcast an empowering declaration that you're not merely enduring the years but actively embracing them, poised, self-assured, and vibrantly intertwined with the rhythm of life. This quiet elegance doesn't just turn heads, it draws hearts closer, affirming your place in the ongoing story. As we wrap up this raw, real talk on the 9 stupid mistakes older people do that everyone notices but no one dares to mention, I hope your heart feels a little lighter and your steps a bit bolder. You've got the tools now to sidestep those pitfalls and shine brighter in your later chapters, because aging isn't about fading. It's about fierce, unapologetic you. What hit home for you today? Drop in the comments below. What's one thing you've learned from these stupid mistakes older people make, and how will you bring it into practice in your life starting right now? Your story could spark someone else's breakthrough. Let's lift each other. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more no BS wisdom on thriving as we age. See you in the next one. Stay vibrant.